Welcome to the mecaniquesportive YouTube channel. I'm Nicola. Today I'm presenting the restyled Renault ESPACE 6. Yeah, as you saw just before, it looks like a lot like a Rafale. Yeah, it really took on the new Renault signature design cues, the ones you now find on the Symbios, Rafale, Scenic, and so on. This front grille with the diamond shapes has been slightly restyled, even with this new color. I'll give you the main features of this car again, the engines, all that. Then we'll do a test on all types of roads to see how it performs, in terms of fuel consumption, handling, and so on. I'm not going to give you a super detailed review because it's just an evolution of the previous version. There were already more than 70,000 of you who watched the video on the channel. I'll give you a quick recap. We'll still talk a little bit about everything, and then we'll try it out. That's the most important part. Don't hesitate to subscribe and give a thumbs up like this. And then, well, here we go. Let's go. So, among the things to know about the Renault ESPACE. So, this 6th version, it's available this time with 5 seats or 7 seats. The version I have today is the 5-seat version. Basically, it's a family SUV with a gigantic trunk in the 7-seat version. I had already shown it in the studio. I had shown you the accessibility to the rear seats, which I didn't find surprisingly amazing, but as a 5-seater for a 5-seat car. Well, it's just incredible since there's a lot of space in the back seats, a lot of space in the trunk, and it's still a very pleasant car. We have 4-wheel steering, so both front and rear wheels turn. That's a big advantage. For dynamics and comfort, even in the city, it weaves its way almost anywhere. The Renault ESPACE offers just one engine option, keeping it simple. They put a 200 horsepower E-Tech 1.2-liter engine in this car. Combined with the electric motors, don't forget, there are several powertrains with this electric version, so on the E-Tech models, we've been getting familiar with that for years now. 130 horsepower from the combustion engine and the rest from the electric motor, which combine to give a total of 200 horsepower. It's the 3-cylinder 1.2-liter engine. We'll discuss it at the start of the test drive, you'll see. There are 2 or 3 little things that bother me a bit with this engine, but then there are also a few things that are actually pretty good about this engine. Also, we've paired it with a battery of about 2 kilowatt hours, which allows for a lot of electric phases. Renault claims up to 80%, and I haven't measured the exact time between thermal and electric, but it's true that we spend a large amount of time in full electric mode, and no matter the speed, there's always a part that recharges and phases. Even on the highway at 130 km/h in full electric mode, it's good. 0 to 100 in 8.8 seconds is decent for a big family SUV. A top speed of 180 kilometers per hour usually sufficient. We have 4 colors available on this car, including this new bluish gray here, Baltic, which I find sublime. So it has a bit of a stormy sky look, which makes me think of what might happen today. And it's different. It really highlights the shapes and still adds a bit of color. You know, I don't really like grays and blacks. Add a little bit of blue to a gray. It brings something nicer, but it's not blue-gray either. It has a unique color due to symbiosis. It's a car that's 4 meters 75 long, so a very long baby, 1 meter 83 wide without the mirrors, and 1 meter 65 high. We have a wheelbase of 2 meters 74, and you'll see that for the rear passengers, that's really generous. To give you an idea, an Austral is 22 centimeters shorter than this. 22 centimeters, well, that's about this much less, so 22 centimeters really makes a difference. As for the weight, we're between 1,600 and 1,700 kilos, depending on the configuration. The trunk holds between 581 and 777 liters, which is quite generous. For the wheels, you'll have the choice between 19-inch or 20-inch. We even have new wheels that just appeared on the Esprit Alpine versions. Today, I have it in the iconic version, the highest-end version. There will be the Techno version, which starts at 45,000 euros, the Esprit Alpine version, and the iconic version. And like this, about 50,000 euros. I rarely talk to you about penalties, but here I saw the information. It's about 800 euros in penalties. A little bit for weight, a little bit for carbon monoxide. Alright, so this facelift is mainly about the front end, like I was telling you, look. So here you can see the diamonds that were introduced, so I don't remember if it was the Esprit Alpine version, the Arcana, I think, Esprit Alpine, that started this, or the Capture. So we find that here, the big diamond in the middle that includes the driver assistance sensors, the camera at the bottom. Then you can see that the lower part looks like most Renaults. You still find these little notches right here. There's a noticeable change here from the old ESPACE, which had a C shape like the Megane, but now it matches the style seen on the Rafale and Symbios. And it's pretty nice. I still really love that holographic effect you find in the light clusters. And on top of that, we have LED matrix vision, so the lights adapt at night and so on. It's really, really nice. The half diamond shape here, which you now find on the car, still with the air intake here, to enhance aerodynamics and with extremely refined shapes. Personally, I think this part is really one of the most beautiful sections of the car for me, where you can really see the craftsmanship. Here, there's depth. And look, the headlight unit also turns inward. These parts here and these small sections here that come in as well, it's really very, very well done. Kudos to the design teams. I think it's really very nice. The three-quarter front also looks nice, as you can see, and it's the same here. You can see some of the C shape here, ending at the bottom with glossy black and more basic plastic below, plus the hood. So it doesn't really change, maybe just a little bit here on these parts. And look at this blue, or rather this bluish gray. I think it's gorgeous. These large rims, which we know from Renault, always remind me a bit like an Eiffel Tower with a base here and rising to a point with the diamond-cut rims. So here we're definitely looking at 20 inches, if I'm not mistaken, exactly. 235 disc brakes on all four wheels. The wheel arches are painted, no unsightly plastic on this car. It's pretty nice, just a little bit under the bottom of the mirrors. Here, we have the cameras, since we have 360-degree cameras, no two-tone, but right here in the large solar bay roof on top. You can see that again inside, just a little bit of chrome here, so you can see it here around the trim right there. The fuel cap holds 55 liters, which should give you about 800 kilometers according to the tank gauge. Even from the side, it's nice. The shapes, proportions, lines, and slim, sleek look are beautiful. So yes, for me, it's no longer an ESPACE, it's a big, stylish Austral, but for me, it no longer has the ESPACE spirit. But anyway, that's it. Renault wanted to turn the ESPACE into an SUV. This sharp line that we see here brings a lot of contrast, gives a bit of shape to the sides, and the lights are also different. Now, they also take on a bit more of the Rafale style. And the word ESPACE that we see here, written in this particular way, and its logos are a bit flatter. The E-Tech badges on the side. Anyway, it only comes in one engine option, as I was saying, so this is what it looks like. At the back, we also have these little parts that widen at the rear, but here they're fake air vents. The bumper here is in a very basic black shark fin antenna, the small spoiler, you can see it at the back, and the roof rails in matte black. On this version, it's very nice, and the rear three-quarter view is really, really cool. Don't move, I'll show you the trunk. I know you always want to see it, so I'm going to get my little tripod. I'll set you down here, clip you on like this, and take you to the trunk. Because you'll see, the trunk, it's not here to mess around. So we have an electric opening already. There we go, like this. It gives me time to position you, and look at this beautiful opening. Wow, there we go. I'll put you here. Let's adjust the frame, center it, and now, so Nicholas has a lot of space. So, look here, right here. We put one Nico in, could fit a second, even a third. 3 adults can actually fit in this trunk. Very, very good for kidnappers. That would be pretty funny. We still have some space underneath here, so there's no spare tire, but we could definitely have one. We have a small bag there and rear cup holders, as this can seat 7. If you want to camp, just use a small inflatable mattress here. It works and is much cheaper than a camper since it's so spacious. Here we have a soft cover for the trunk. We have little levers here to fold down the seats and small hooks to hang bags. And honestly, we still have a lot of space. Even for those who want to put bikes in, it's pretty convenient to fold the seats down right here, just like this. Hop, hop. It's a shame the loading sill isn't level with the trunk. You can't set it at 2 different levels, but it's extremely spacious. It's really, really big, and you can also slide the rear bench by 22 centimeters, so in a 2/3, 1/3 split, and that gives you up to, well, it brings it up to 777 liters, so it really becomes gigantic. Well, what is the real advantage of this Renault ESPACE in the 5-seat version? Well, it's that the 3 passengers in the back will really be well accommodated. Well, we have a gigantic door that opens quite well, with a nice wide opening at the doors. This is basic plastic, resembling a Dacia Sandero, just like below. It's a bit of a shame that it's not a bit more refined. because you see, it already resonates a little. Next, this white section resembles leather, though it's not genuine. They don't kill animals for cars anymore. A handle here, which leads to a large compartment. Well, visually, it's nice. And here, when I get in, Nicholas, I'm 6 feet tall, and this seat is pushed back to let me get out more easily. Look, Nicholas, 6 feet tall, it's gigantic, it's huge. I've got space, I can stretch my legs. Now I drive very low, but I don't have much room to put my feet underneath. But someone who actually drives very high, maybe there would be a way for me to fit a little better, but I can still already at least put the tips of my toes under the seat. Here, it's really generous. I have headroom. I still have at least 10 centimeters above my head. When I sit up as straight as possible, it's pretty good for my knees. What can I say? I still have an easy 20 centimeters in front of my knees. Here, he moved back 10 centimeters, giving us nearly 30 centimeters of space. It feels good and generous. The only thing that's a shame, look at this part here, we have 20 centimeters in height. I would have liked it to go higher, even though it would have looked much less nice from the outside. I admit, but on the other hand, here I have windows that are really small, and since I'm tall, actually, my eyes are almost at this height, and it kind of blocks my view. Even though we have the big solar bay roof here, it would have been cool to keep that kind of space spirit. But, well, that doesn't change. Compared to the pre-facelift version, the seats are quite good and long. Here I can rest well, it's quite reclined towards the back. And normally, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not mistaken. What's that? Wait, is there a tab here? There we go, so I can put my seat down. So from almost 90 degrees to very reclined. Well, very reclined is cool for long trips. The tab isn't well placed for use while driving with the doors closed. I can't see myself using it on the highway. Opening it. You can lower this part here that serves as an armrest, so double cup holders. Here's more space for your phone. It's huge, but unfortunately it's off-center. The armrest is much higher on this side, so I'm stuck like this. It's a shame. It's nice, sure, but it's not ideal. We'll test it when we sit there to see if Renault's idea was good. Small central tunnel here, but I have a lot of space. 2 USB-C ports, air conditioning, you can just adjust the airflow here, the LEDs on top, and alright, I'm coming here. So this seat is a bit harder, it's raised up a little here. The buckles are tucked away in sections that are cut out for them, so I can feel them a little under my butt. But, well, I'll get used to it. I have space. Even if I put both my feet on the central tunnel, there's still the same amount of space. A lot of headroom. It's spacious, it's harder here and here. I have less leg support, but usually a smaller person sits in the middle. Why not? Just to go for a little drive. However, the backrest is very hard, so making it that way had no real benefit. As a central armrest, having something inside would have been just as good. But honestly, we're comfortable. Here, I lack support, but on the sides, I get good support that holds me well. At the top, sides, and shoulders, it restricts my movement. And above all, the magic thing is this. 22 centimeters of extra space here, that's huge. Well, you see this. That's what we gain compared to a Renault Austral in terms of the car's length and a Renault Austral. Imagine yourself in this situation. Here, it's less fun since I'm actually touching. So, if you're a short driver with small children, you could fit 4 with a very well-filled trunk. And the 22 centimeters are cool because it really makes a difference. What's good is that this time, Renault put it under the seats instead of in the middle. And on top of that, you can separate this bench and that one. For example, with 4 people, you can all sit here, just fold this one down and put, for example, a bike or something else, skis, for example. I'm not sure if the skis will fit, but there's a lot of space. Let's check out the front part. Well, since we've already gone around the car, I'll just get in directly. The 4 little handles remind us of the 4 controls. Here's how it looks. So, the seat here, I'll grab my key, the little animation as usual. So, white seats like this, with this white interior, it's really beautiful. And look at the finish of the seats. The beauty, the stitching colors, the contrast, everything is really super nice on this car. They are, of course, electric. We have the controls on this side, the little Renault door sill right here. The doors are much higher quality than in the back. It's padded on the top. We have the little LED strip here. It's quite nice. They're Harman Kardon on this version, and so here this imitation leather is quite nice. Same to the touch. It's soft. It's a bit padded. It's good. The mirror and window controls and the storage bins at the bottom, so on the very basic plastic parts, you can store large bottles. That's actually pretty good. We have a pedal set with 2 pedals, since an automatic transmission is mandatory, and the footrest on the left. Here you'll find a tiny storage compartment. The parking brake, so the former handbrake, and the auto hold here, so you don't have to keep your foot on the brake when you're stopped. The trunk release and the My Safety personal button, you can see the button for automatic high beams here, and you can adjust your lights right here. It's best to leave it on auto. The rest, like the turn signal, will work. And the headlight flash. I'm going to slip inside. There we go. All right, so hold on. I'm starting the car, and now the seat moves forward so I can get comfortable. What I'm going to do is move back as far as possible so I can show you what it looks like as best as I can. And here it is. Hold on. I'm going to demonstrate. So, now it asks me every time if I want to save here. I'm not saving this time. Yes, because otherwise it will remember this spot. I'll adjust the screens for you. The flickering is just the camera's refresh rate. Over here you can see, so fasten your seatbelt or something. Here we have the car's information. We can hide it right here, the temperatures, etc. I prefer keeping it visible with info on one side and driving aids and other features on the other. The speed if we're in parking, the driving aids. Here I have 800 kilometers of range left to go. You can see it. Then, to change all that, it's in the menus. Right here, you can see the animations, which are actually pretty stylish with more or less information if needed. Same thing, like I said, you can hide what's on the right, and then you can see the different animations, the menus. We're going to look at the global positioning system map, so the global positioning system is right there. And just like that, there you go. That works well for me. We know the steering wheel now. The driving aids are on this side, faster, slower, reset, and the road sign recognition. If there's a 90 sign, press it, and the car will automatically go to 90. And the assistance modes, so the adaptive cruise control limiters or the content assistance is deactivated. And the first one is the active assist, so with the car driving itself. Personally, that's what I use almost all the time. The drive modes from the multi-sense right here, so we have comfort mode. So right now, we're in comfort. Eco mode, which changes the colors a bit for me. Sport mode in red, and same thing, it also changes the menus. Here, you can see it, for example, it's a bit more red. And we also have the personal mode, which is often purple. You can customize the LEDs with the LED strips that go all the way around. I'll keep it in personal mode. I like purple myself. So the steering wheel is like this, with small perforations here that feel pretty nice to the touch. And then it's really soft to the touch. It's pleasant. Paddles for regeneration. So you don't shift gears with these, since you don't shift gears in this car. It's always automatic and uncontrollable. Behind, you still have music controls and can switch sources like Bluetooth, phone, radio, and digital audio broadcasting radio. And the modes here, that's just for the wipers. And the gear shift is here, foot on the brake, push down. I shift into drive, it shows up there on the top left reverse. Reverse, which displays the cameras for me. With 360-degree cameras, you can see everything, and it even tilts my right mirror down to help me maneuver. And then, I can also choose the 360 version. Like this, it's pretty cool, just like what you find now on most high-end cars. And the parking button, I just press right here, and I switch back to parking, and I can release my brake. It also disengages for me. The cameras. To start the car, it's right here, so we have this screen, plus this vertical screen that really looks like a tablet. So it's smooth, it's pleasant. We have the menus right here, the music on this side, and a home button here. The global positioning system built into Google Automotive. No matter where you want to go, it'll tell you. You can say, okay, I'm going to go there to friends. Does that work? Yeah, okay, it's going to load the location for me. So I'm in an area right in the middle of the forest, so it's getting a signal. Not very well, but start. And there you go. You have all the real-time information, road closures, etc., since we have the traffic. With Google Maps built into the car, you can also download the Waze app if desired. There you go. Canceled at that spot, so we have all options. Toll, no toll, and more, just like any other car. What's great is that there are always the climate control buttons. Right here, warmer, cooler on each side, so we have dual zone. And then the fan speed right here. That's great. I have all my shortcuts: warmer, cooler, stronger, weaker, and air direction. That's ideal. We have shortcuts here with notifications and others. And up there, the menus. I've already made videos about this. If you want to check them out on the channel, you'll find them. Just type Renault Multimedia, Sports Mechanics. The engine just started because I had the air conditioning on and the battery was low. It's a bit noisy. We'll discuss it again during the test drive. There are two USB Type-C ports, and the cigarette lighter socket, cup holder, storage space, and especially this new feature they invented which frees up storage. Here, and actually it can move on the top. This is a wireless charger. I set my phone on it to charge and it hides what's underneath. Depending on what you want to put there, after that, you can rest your hand on it. It's up to each person. Or if you put them there, it's handy to play with that. Or the screen. The downside is that the notches, well, there are a few notches, but they're not very rigid. That means it doesn't move here, it doesn't move here, but if I press a little bit here, it moves a bit. So this part here, which is hard, and then this part is padded, it's the same thing. As mentioned, this part may be too far for those with short arms, but your elbow will rest on the hard part. So Renault, look, this part is padded, do it here, you add padding. This part will be at the top, or just this little part here will make the difference. Here, we open this, so we have more storage. A small compartment that's about the same as this one here. So what we have here, we also find here. Except here, there's a little carpet at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it there, that's good. The seats, so I showed them to you. The headrests, as we call them in the group, are actually quite comfortable here. When it comes to air conditioning, so the air conditioning menu, how do we get to the air conditioning menu? Because here we can turn it on and off, heated seat. The windshield defroster as well, so windshield defroster. I don't know if you can see it there, so hold on. I'm trying to show it to you like this. There we go. Come on, get on my little fingers. I don't know. If you can see, there are lots of little filaments in the windshield that make it defrost much faster. Hold on. Air conditioning, air quality, driving thing. Hold on. Because right now, honestly, it's true that we have all the settings, but we don't have absolutely everything. Is it something here, air quality? I have something for air quality, air purifier. No, that's not what I'm interested in. Air conditioning is on, turn it off. Steering wheel heat, etc. Actually, yeah, everything is right there. There's no climate control menu. Honestly, on one hand, it's true that we have everything right here. Okay, the seats here, we don't have massage. It's true that it could have been nice on cars at this price. And some do offer it. Oh wait, that's it, active lumbar support. So we do have some light massages. I was thinking, oh yes, so a little massage and you can adjust the intensity, extended sequence. There you go. If you want it everywhere, you get some light massages. Well, I don't think it's as good as what we have at Peugeot with the cat paw pad and all that. But we do have a little reminder here. And then the home button is right here. On the top, we have a frameless central rear view mirror, which is something I really love. If you have kids, you can add a mirror here to see the entire back area or close it. Or it can be used as a sunglasses holder. The Save Our Souls button and the Solar Bay, which you can tint or untint. Since it's electrochromic, you can adjust the front, back, or both parts. And tint everything again. And it goes in a loop. So, for example, when it reaches the end, I just want to untint the front part again. I click in the back and it untints the front. On days like this, when it's not too sunny, it's actually nice to leave it open. Up there, a little LED, a very small mirror. With the ticket holder, everyone has their own handle to hold onto, and the LEDs here are touch sensitive. That's a little camera that spies on you so it can see if you're watching the road properly, etc., etc. But with the personal mode, you can turn all that off. That's actually pretty good, so that it's there because it's the regulation to get the maximum points for Euro New Car Assessment Program and all that. So it's not something mandatory, but brands make sure to get the maximum number of stars. And then, there you go. We have a head-up display, so I don't know if you can see here. Up there, that's hard plastic. Here, it's soft touch. Ah, that's a shame. Harman Kardon's sound system up there as well. A small piece that looks like wooden is quite nice. The passenger has 2 air vents facing him, and the glove box is spacious. You can still fit a 1.5-liter bottle here, and there you go. All right, let's go try out this car. We'll see how it does over several days. All right, here we go with this ESPACE. Start up, electric start, drive, and we're off. We're starting nice and easy. Leaving here, I have to admit the electric side is really, really cool. The gentleman is looking at me. He must be thinking, wow, that young man has a nice car. That's right. Turn signal noise. Let's clear that. It would be nice if CarPlay would come back on. Come on, CarPlay, let's go. I just connected the phone earlier. Come on, let's go, hop. There we go, so let's go. We're off for a little 100 kilometers. The engine just started. So, to be completely honest with you, the little 1.2-liter engine makes the whole car vibrate. I can even feel it in the brake pedal. That's a bit of a shame because I just came from the Renault Symbioz, which didn't do that at all when it was started. Maybe it's just cold and hasn't been started yet. It's cold. It's making a bit of noise. I'm looking forward to seeing how it is when it's warmed up and all. Right now, we almost have no battery left. We were all the way at the bottom. We still started off in electric mode, but that's a bit of a shame because I have a big car. Honestly, it's something that looks super luxurious. It really does. It looks like the seats of a truly premium car. Even the side finish, the quality. You think, yeah, we're in a nice car, and that little 1.2-liter engine kind of ruins it all, I think. What would have been nice is to put the same engine as, for example, the new Bigster, the new Symbioz, with 160 horsepower, maybe tune it up a bit more with more electric like we have here. I have to admit, it's nice when it shuts off because it's so noisy. I didn't remember that, and yeah, you can definitely hear it. But in terms of soundproofing, the scooter just went by and everything. In electric mode, I'm in my own bubble. We'll mostly use it in the city and when stopped. But sometimes when it starts up like that. That's the really, really pleasant side exactly about this. Electric vehicle, so electric. By the way, I'm going to switch back to my personal mode. It's quite pleasant. Even in electric mode, there's enough power to accelerate. If this car even had a bigger battery, it would make for a really cool plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. They could have just increased the battery capacity because, oops, my tripod. We had actually more than enough in full electric mode in terms of powertrain to be able to use it like that almost every day. I don't know if you saw the video about the Symbioz, but there, to go 700 meters, it actually took us more than 10 minutes. Today, I hope it's gonna be fine. It's Wednesday, so I'm still in electric mode. Braking slightly recharges the batteries, which is nice. Very, very quiet inside the cabin. I'm going to turn on the air conditioning. So, as usual, 21.5 like in all cars, and I always want the air conditioning running. And that too. That affects the consumption and the engine that's going to start up. And normally, we're going to do a big part in like that. So what's good is that now, I'm going to reset the consumption to 0. Because right now it's showing me a lot, so it's possible that it was there, but I'm resetting it to 0 anyway. Maybe it had been running for a few minutes before, while stopped. This way, I'm certain about my consumption. We're heading out to drive over 100 kilometers right away to check the consumption with mixed driving. Well, it's not the little 600 meters that's going to make a difference here, but we'll still check the consumption. The engine just restarted, but I have to admit it really vibrates a lot. However, when I start driving, so you can still hear it, but the vibrations lessen a little bit. A 3-cylinder is still a 3-cylinder. Like all such cars, it always has that typical sound and vibration. And that characteristic sound, especially for cars, for motorcycles like Triumph's 3-cylinder models. I find it very pleasant, but on a car, it's much less good. And yet, even motorcycles are starting to have 1200. Now, I've gone back up, but when I go back up like this, when the engine is a little higher in the revs, well, it's pleasant. You can hear it a little, but there are more vibrations. You can feel that the car still has some response if I need it. It accelerates quickly and shifts gears smoothly. You can feel the electric side bringing instant torque, which makes it pick up again quite strongly. And we still have 200 horsepower in this car, and the combined torque from both the electric and the combustion engine makes it quite pleasant. That's it. The main advantage of hybrids is having more power, and especially having it right away without necessarily needing to rev very high. So here, hop, it goes up to 90, I accelerate, and it takes a little bit of time to shift down. Yet, we have a gearbox from Formula One. We could have expected something faster. On the other hand, the advantage with this E-Tech, and especially on this ESPACE, is that it doesn't rev very high, like most E-Tech engines. I just left a Symbios, the new model, under the same conditions, on this hill at the same place and speed. Well, it was revving higher, the engine noise was a bit more noticeable. Whereas here, honestly, you can tell it shifted up a gear, and that makes it more pleasant. Since you know I love driving aids, here's what I'll do next. So I'm gonna turn on drive assist, set it to read the signs, 90, and that's it. It's centered in the lane immediately, so now I'm letting it drive. It adjusts speed for curves and more, so it's the car that's driving. Now all I do is follow the global positioning system and we're cruising along at 90. Here, let's not forget to get back into the right lane, right? A lot of people do, because you often see many people in the left or middle lanes on the roads. Here it's quite pleasant. I can hear the engine, but it's not unreasonable. At 90, it's still pretty good. Even if I can accelerate myself, I feel that the pedal sensitivity is pretty good. I'm currently in comfort mode, but we can try sport mode later to see how it feels when it's more dynamic. And in these conditions, I think it's pretty good. And there you go. The joy of the Paris region is the traffic jams. So my driving aids are really valuable to me. It's still a real advantage, especially for this aspect. However, it doesn't know when cars are merging in like that. Oh yes, it detected it. Usually it doesn't do that. Here, I think actually it used the proximity sensors because she merged in slowly, so it worked. I was about to lie, but always be careful. When a car merges, keep your foot over the brake. It's your responsibility to manage, like with the steering wheel. On the other hand, its ability to move forward and stop on its own in traffic jams is a real advantage. It seems that if it's under 10 kilometers per hour, you don't need to touch the steering wheel for a bit. Averaging 5.5 liters to reach the N118 toward Marcoussis over 25 kilometers is pretty good. With such a big vehicle, that's pretty good. A small engine, electricity, and so on. Honestly, it gets the job done. In terms of consumption, we know that the electric versions are pretty good for that. Right now, I'm at 110. I have 7 or 8 kilometers to go at 110 kilometers per hour, so I'm going to stay at 110 the whole way. Of course, they closed the A6, so I don't know how I'm going to do my little stretch. I need to find a highway to go 130 kilometers per hour. At 110, it's quite nice. Even with the engine running, the engine just shut off and switched to electric vehicle mode. So this car, it can drive at 110 or 130 km/h in electric mode without issues. At 110 km/h on clean asphalt, between electric and engine started, there's very little difference. The engine is pretty quiet, and it's always very pleasant. There's really just, I think it's a bit noisy during cold engine phases or when recharging while stopped. Otherwise, in these conditions, it's pretty good. There's some road noise at 110 kilometers per hour. Yet, there's a bit of wind today, the weather isn't great, and the wind noise is really well contained. Actually, there's none at all, by the way. By the way, since it's nice out today, I can open my little roof because I hadn't thought about it, since when it's sunny, it's better to keep it closed. I admit a little more humidity won't hurt. Oh yeah, still, let's take number 6. Well, after about half an hour stuck in traffic without going over 30 kilometers per hour, 60 kilometers per hour, yeah, I have an average of 5 liters. So I've done 42 kilometers so far, which is pretty good, considering I was driving before that too. And now normally we shouldn't be much longer. In a few kilometers, we'll drive at 110, then 130 kilometers per hour. Here we go again. I was driving at 110 for a bit, now switching to 130. Since we're getting onto the A6 highway really heading toward Lyon, It picks up pretty well. Same with the cruise control. The car didn't even downshift or anything. It just picked up speed and enough to drive properly. But this is perfect. 130 kilometers per hour. The engine is running. Honestly, the engine actually, when you're at high speed, it's pretty quiet, but when you're at low speed, you can still hear it quite a bit. But here, I think it's pretty good. It's actually quite pleasant. Wind noise is fairly well contained, even near the roof. I noticed this on the Symbios too. The solar bay is honestly well soundproofed. You can hear a little bit of wind noise, but the engine itself is really very quiet. That's the first thing that surprises me about this little three-cylinder, and honestly, it's pretty comfortable. The suspension is comfortable too. The steering is pretty good. And now we're going to head onto the small country roads, where it's really rough and very winding. We'll test the dynamic handling a bit. And here we go on a country road, extremely rough and very bumpy. So, in terms of suspension, you can feel there's still a bit of firmness, but on the other hand, the four-wheel steering. What's crazy is it feels like we're driving a super dynamic car. It almost feels like we're driving a go-kart. It's so lively and seems so dynamic. We're going to turn here. Thank you, ma'am. All right, let's go. Accelerate. If I accelerate, I'm in comfort mode. It takes a little bit of time. There's always a slight delay of about a second, but then it goes. And pretty well, so the turn there. Here at 90, the car handles really well. It doesn't sink down. Even when I use, actually, the 4 control, it's really a whole different world. I almost want to go do the Nürburgring with this. By the way, we're going there soon with some cool cars. You can feel some slack at first, then bam, bam, bam. It's really lively, which is great. Now we'll test ourselves, the big hole and the little bat that nearly didn't make it. Hot, but yeah, it's both comfortable and dynamic at the same time. On the big hole, it was good, well suspended, and kept its comfort. But actually, what's weird is that if I do this, not much happens because it's a little bit soft. But when I go a bit further, actually, there's a slight response delay. It's in milliseconds, but something does happen. ABS quickly steps in, asking what you're doing and telling you not to mess around. It's pretty special. Hold on sport mode, which is going to change the steering a bit, and unfortunately, it makes the steering a bit firmer. But the problem is, it doesn't make the suspension any firmer. It would have needed a bit more firmness in the suspension, so that it would really be cool and give us a greater sense of dynamism. All right, as usual, this empty road, we'll test 0 to 100 in sport mode. Average at 5.6, by the way, over 71.6 kilometers. All right, here we go, pedal down. It takes off smoothly without the engine revving up at the start. 50, 56, 66, 73, 80, and 100. Not bad at all. Careful, hard braking from 100 to 0, let's go. That activates the hazard lights. Oh, it cuts the engine right away and everything nice and easy, eco-friendly, and I start again. It brakes well, it does dip a little as you can see, but it's not the one that dips the most. As a car, you can still feel the comfort. It's still a Renault ESPACE. You know, it's supposed to be comfortable, and it's pretty good. The acceleration is sufficient. The engine revs up from 70 kilometers per hour. Initially, the electric torque delivers the power, and even when you accelerate again, the electric component remains involved. It shifts down gears, but always takes some time, and it's always the same. Its aim is to use minimal fuel while maintaining torque and power. On bumpy country roads, I've noticed this. The seats in the back make noise. I hear with a little vibration. It's a bit of a shame for a new car that has... How many kilometers does it have? 1,100 kilometers? Yeah, 1,100 kilometers. It's a bit of a shame. Small speed bump here. I hadn't gone over a speed bump until now. It's fine. It's still pretty comfort-oriented. And what you need to know is that I stayed in sport mode. In sport mode, the car tries to keep the battery charged to the max, so that we always have at least 80% battery, precisely to have more dynamic acceleration and make it a bit livelier, especially during acceleration and pickup phases. All right, let's see what it's like in sport mode. So let's not forget, it's a bit damp here on this little road. All right, let's give it a little go. Wow, in the back, That's pretty surprising. The strong control is actually really pleasant. Wow, the rear is sliding out a bit. And yeah, it's pretty impressive. But honestly, it's pretty good. You still have to be quite careful, though. Here we go, then. The rear slides out. But when it goes too fast, the SP catches it. But on the other hand, I was able to test it. Earlier, I did a quick round trip. The tires here aren't amazing. Actually, they grip well, but when they let go all at once. And I find that in sport mode, the car actually tends to bring the rear around. And in sport mode, I think they've really set it up like a real sports car, almost to the point where the rear wants to slide out. Everything wraps around, making it enjoyable for daily drivers. I advise you not to use sport mode too often when it's wet, at least use it more on dry roads, when it really grips well. But when you go for it, in comfort mode, so really in standard mode, it's much better and really pleasant. The four-wheel steering handles corners well. It's quite pleasant. You can feel that there's good balance and especially how easy it is. And even in terms of the feeling, you can tell it's pretty good. But above all, actually, it's this feeling in the steering from the four-wheel control that's quite pleasant. And at this pace, it's pretty good. I forgot to mention the steering wheel paddles for regeneration. There are 3 levels, and I'm currently using the highest. You can see that even downhill, it slows the car to about 10 kilometers per hour. It's basically a B mode with 3 such levels. So I have to admit that the one I prefer is the one with the minimum recuperation, almost like freewheeling. But here, if I pull all 3, it really comes on. Almost until it stops, and then around 10 kilometers per hour, well, it keeps rolling. We have a kind of creeping motion. You might like it for the city, but I admit I prefer freewheeling in almost all conditions, except when it's mountainous, a bit like here, with big descents. The recovery is quite interesting since we recover energy electrically, and then, once the battery is full, you'll have to use the brake pedal more. For the 0 to 100, driving a bit like a fool made it go up. My average to 5.8 liters over 85 kilometers. Now I'm heading back to take some small roads, driving at 70 without going over 90, and we'll finish like that calmly. On this little test, here I am at my filming spot for what you saw before the test. An average of 5.6 liters per 125 kilometers, which seems pretty reasonable to me considering the size of the car. We did some dynamic and highway driving. It's actually pretty good, and you can get even lower if you avoid highways and drive more carefully. I think you can get around 5 liters pretty easily and between 6 and 7 liters. If you only drive in the city with traffic jams and have money, I'm going to keep this car for a few more days and I'll give you a little final debrief at the very end when I return it. Well, here we are. We're coming to the end. It's rainy today, but I'm going to give you a little debrief with this car, which in the end is actually pretty good. And there you go. That's the end. I'm bringing it back with its buddies. So after spending a few days with this new restyled ESPACE, what do we think about it? Well, it's not different at all from the old ESPACE. It's the same thing. It's always the same. The interior is exactly the same, only the exterior has changed. That let me test fuel consumption. As you can see, 5.4 liters in the Paris region over 162.9 kilometers. And I still have 810 kilometers of fuel left, which is really not bad. So how much did we say? 5.4 liters, that's really not bad. Considering the size of this machine, it's actually pretty comfortable. My only minor downside is this 1.23 cylinder engine. I prefer the 1.6 or 1.84 cylinder. They're more pleasant. But on the highway, that's true. It's pretty good and uses little fuel. I spoke with Renault engineers who said the 1.2 liter was ultimately more efficient at 5.4 liters. For a Renault ESPACE, that's not bad at all. Overall, it's a pleasant, comfortable car with good suspension for dynamic driving. Just watch the tires in wet conditions. Don't go too fast. The Renault ESPACE isn't really built for speed, but it still handles well. Dynamic, thanks to four-wheel steering. Otherwise, it's mainly comfortable cruising with 200 horsepower. Plenty of power. Everything related to infotainment and so on, Renault, the big screens and all, maps is directly integrated here. We have everything we need. A large glass roof, bright interior, and supportive seats. Still, I wish, since it's a car for long drives. If this part here could be raised, because in the end, I'm putting a lot of weight on my buttocks and I don't have any support under my thighs. It's a shame this part can't be raised since you can adjust the seat, but not this section. And I thought that was a bit of a shame. There were still some light massages, but again, the massages are pretty gentle. Maybe I wanted something punchier since we have an incredible car that might deserve more features. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'm going on vacation, giving myself 6 days off this year. Feels good, right? That's not bad. All right, see you soon. Ciao.